This is the Straight Talk Morning Show. My name is Andre. We have our co-host, the chairman of the Enlightened Ones, elder of our United Aboriginal American Republic, Terrence Howard. Where I get the Howard from? Terrence Lake.
Howard, you talking about the actor?
Well, he would have been a good actor. The chairman would have matched him up tit for tat. And of course, we have on our engineer, and I learned some things about my son over the last week. His genius came out. He got this book in the system, got it going. He got congratulations and approval by our distributors, Andre Hill Jr.
Peace and love, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back.
So, Chairman, how have you been? We've been on break for quite some time. What's going on in your life?
Well, grand rising, everybody, and things have been moving. I'm still working with my book, God's Child, dealing with various publishing companies. There's so many scams out there, it kind of throws you for a loop. You didn't realize that many people out there looking for misfortune and trying to take advantage of whatever you have. But other than that, I'm still in the game, still out here communicating with people, giving them my thoughts and ideals, and trying to turn that book into a motion picture. I mean, I'm up there in age now. I'm getting closer to 80 now. It was in the middle, 75. I'll be 77 next month, and time is flying. But it's still good because, like I say, I'm still in the game, just trying to make things happen for the better. And glad to be back on this show because it stimulates your mind. It brings new, material and, you know, current events to the mind to, just help motivate and uplift society, and that's what it's all about because we can't do it all by ourselves, but we can contribute by, just doing what we can to help out. And that's what it's all about right now.
Absolutely. So on this beginning of our Straight Talk show, there's been, since the last time we did a show, there's been some crazy things going on. I had heart surgery, and a day after my heart surgery, Israel attacked Palestine. I mean, we've been in a whirlwind of events that are history type, world life-changing events, and I've seen them manifest a state of mind. The cost of living is going through the roof. You got, I'm looking at how this entities that we talk about, and of course the show is built around our book, Lucifer's Revenge, but these entities are manipulating us. They're manipulating our time. They're blowing up the cost of living to the point where you have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to pay your rent and eat. And this is your planet. You don't have to pay to live on your own planet, And so it's some crazy things going on. I think what we're doing, where we're headed with this book, the primary objective is to raise the spiritual consciousness, the rate of also adjust the frequency so that humans can realize that the current system that we're operating in was designed to test us. We call it racism, satanic, Luciferian, all of these different names, but it's a prescription that every civilization must go through before they evolve to a level where they can take charge of their own planet and join what we refer to as the Galactic Council. So there are supreme advanced civilizations all over the universe, and they're sitting back waiting on us to make that that choice that we are civilized. We can treat each other the way we want to be treated. We don't need racism, sexism, all of these things. We understand the quality that every human offers to balance and to the whole. And so that's where we are. As they said, we're at the precipice of making a decision on the fact that we are ready to do the right thing. And it is believed, and it has been discussed, that this is not the first time. This is not the first civilization. We've been working on this for quite some time. This may be the fifth or the sixth reboot. And so we're at that point now where we're about to face a reboot, or what they refer to as the rapture, which means we got to start all over again, go back to square one, go back through attrition, all these trials and tribulations. So do we want to do that, or are we mature enough to evolve spiritually to a point where we understand that every human has something to give to the whole, and we should not discount it, we should not discredit it, should not be of the mindset of enslaving it, and more importantly, to those cultures that figure that the only way I can compete on this planet is that I have to enslave people. I got to imprison them. I have to lie to them. And that's the issue that we're going to be dealing with. I'm gonna let my son expand on some of this.
So I want to dial it back a little bit. I want to go back to the inspiration behind this book, the actual moment in time when you got the download to write this book, and then again, we have to throw this one out here. So the title of the book, what's the title of the book again?
Lucifer's Revenge. A guide for 144,000.
All right. So the book is titled Lucifer's Revenge. Now, at first glance, that title was seen controversial, right? It was seen controversial. Chairman Terrence, if you were to see the title of that book, say you were in Barnes and Nobles or whatever, or any bookstore, or anywhere you would purchase a book, and if you saw the title of that book, right off of the your immediate impression, what would you think about that title?
Well, first thing I would think that Lucifer's Revenge. Well, somehow Lucifer's been captured and punished and, put in his place, and now he's upset. So he wants some revenge because something happened, So that's why that revenge and Lucifer is connotates a negative energy, a negative force, like the devil or Diablo, those things that are negative. So that's the first thing that would, come to my attention. Lucifer, negativity, revenge, trying to get at people, get back at somebody, trying to pay back, and that's what would hit my mind right away.
Gotcha. That's a good that's a good assessment of the title, because in the book we do get into a very, very elaborate explanation of what Lucifer's agendas were all about, and we let the reader, pretty much determine, whether or not, his actions were justified in a sense, right? But going back again, that I remember, I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember the moment in general when I think I was sitting right here in the same chair and I was working on something on this computer. Probably something either dealing with the urban farm, or I think I may have been working with some kind of a construction project. I think I was at the time, and in my mind, I felt like I was swamped with work. All right, and you came and you were like, "Hey, man, I got a new download for a new book." Right? Remember when you came to me like that, and I was like, "Okay." So, and you was like, "I got the name for it and everything." I was like, "Okay." He was like, "It's gonna be titled Lucifer's Revenge," and I was like, "Okay." And so, between me and you, practically being, telepathic as father and son, I automatically understood the concept, right? Without you even going into too much detail. And I was like, okay. And so, then you said to me, so I want you to contribute to the book, especially talking about Lilith and her role in the Garden of Eden scenario, and her contribution to Lucifer's revenge plan. And I remember distinctly saying to you, I was like, "Hey, Dad, at this moment, I ain't got a whole lot of like space on my plate right now. It's like I ain't got a whole lot of time." Uh, and like I said to myself, when I said to you, I said I can probably only contribute like 10% to this book right now. Remember I said that. Needless to say, what really ended up happening is the same inspiration, the same download that hit you end up hitting me, to the point to where I ended up writing technically more words in the book than you did. Yeah. So we ended up co-authoring this book, and pulling everything that you've experienced and your creative capacity, and everything that I've learned and experienced in my creative capacity, and compiled it all in this one book, and drew out a detailed, want to call it an odyssey, but to some extent, I don't want to say odyssey in the form of, we don't want to automatically assume fiction, right? We don't all want to automatically assume fiction, because what we did is we went back and got ancient text supporting the narratives of Lucifer and any other entity related to Lucifer. And we put it in this book in such detailed fashion that it's so compelling that a lot of people are going to end up, looking at not only biblical references, but any other religion around this world, and saying, "Oh, I see what really happened. I see what really went down. I see what really happened." So when we talking about this book, we're going to be talking about this book probably for the next 10 episodes. Probably going to be talking about the book for the next 10 episodes. And what we want to do is give some insight to what it's about, because as even as compelling as the title Lucifer's Revenge is, it's not going to give you the full picture of it until we give you some some insight into it. So before we go into that, you got anything else you want to say before I ask you particularly about what you wrote in chapter 1?
So, and you need to bring that chapter up so I can look at the title again. But it's chapter 1 is kind of an introduction. It talks about the balance. The name of it is called The Balance and Working of the Universe. So what we're going through right now here on this planet it has either happened in the past or it's going to happen in the future. Every civilization must go through this. We've talked about this on previous shows, but the religious constructs on this planet has distorted the reality of the situation, and that reality is a camouflage, was camouflaged because the Lucifer agenda don't want you to know that this is going on out in the universe. This is why the United States military was very reluctant in disclosing that they've been involved with extraterrestrials since the 50s or the 40s. You know, they don't want you to know this because it's going to expose, you know, technology that they exchange with these extraterrestrials and have profited from. And they know technically when it's illegal, it's called insider trading on how they get this technology, sell it to a corporation, get profit, get rich, and then sit back and say, we don't want them to know our secret. We don't want them to know. We don't want them to know that there are other beings out in the universe. How idiotic is that? How selfish is that? You know, so the universe, since the beginning of time, has been constantly expanding. Solar system after solar system after solar system, and species will be developed on those solar systems, and then they will eventually evolve to where we are. Or, you know, and some have gone millions of years beyond where we are. But every one of them at some point got to this critical point, and they had to make a decision. What is more important, my selfish agenda because of my insecurities, or the well-being of this entire planet? Our planet is totally jacked up right now. Plastics in the oceans, you know, and them sharks are starting to come up and eat. Why? Because the ecosystem has been offset, because these idiots want to continue to drill for oil and disrupt the ecosystem and kill off the natural process. And so there are consequences and repercussions. So at some point we have to put the brakes on and say, look, okay, we had fun. It's been a good ride, but now we need to put the planet back in balance. So that's why I call it the balance and working of the universe. So it talks about how each solar system that developed a species, an intelligent species, what it had to go through. And that's where we are right now. I'll try to go in detail on that.
Gotcha. One other concept that we talk about, and you particularly, you elaborate pretty further on in the beginning of the book, is the concept of the 144,000.
So I've had this question put to me several times, from New York to Seattle, Washington. You know, well, what's the 144,000? Does it have a relation to the Seventh-day Adventists and their take on that? Well, you know, religious constructs are developed because they get a little bit of a small piece of information, and it's usually in a hieroglyph or language that they don't understand. So they come to their own conclusion. And when you have a negative entity involved looking at how can we use this knowledge to control people and enslave them, then it gets really distorted, you know. So what we, through our research in astronomy and astrology, there are cycles in every solar system. In this particular solar system, we discovered a cycle that's based on different sequences of numbers. One of those sequences is 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144. And what we found out is that the species on this planet, whether you are an amoeba or a human, have to submit to the electromagnetic fields of the solar system because it's constantly turning. And when it turns and shifts, the electromagnetic fields change. It's like a dialing up a recipe. And so those electromagnetic fields that I refer to as the architect of all matter. So if 1 hour, the electromagnetic field is northwest, 2 degrees northwest and 5 degrees southwest, then it will have a magnetic effect on a cell. And it will dictate to that cell, well, you're gonna turn left and you're gonna turn right when you get 10 yards down the road. And that is the design of the diversity in every species on this planet. If you look at a tree, you'll see the limbs, they're not straight out, they curve because the electromagnetic fields is adjusting that tree every time it shifts during the growth period. It's having an effect on it. So it also has an effect on the egg and the sperm. Which sperm will the egg receive? Some sperm may have DNA from your great grandmother, or from your mother's side of the family, or your father's side of the family. Each second, each minute, each hour, that changes. And so advanced civilizations that helped develop us here helped charted that for us and gave us a blueprint so that we can understand the balance of this planet, why all humans can contribute to our balance. And so the 144 was the misinterpretation that that's the only ones that survived. But here's what they found out. These advanced civilizations will say, okay, if we're going to create a planet and we're going to develop the species, then we need to get 144 different human personalities and encourage and develop them so that they can create balance. And so what they further found out is that the equation of 144,000 of them is a good number for having diversity. So you don't have cousins marrying cousins, a number of other things. And so if we were going to, if I came to a conclusion that this planet is just, there's nothing we can do with it, I would extract 144 different variations of human beings, just like the Noah Ark concept. Get 2 of this, 2 of that. I would get 144,000 and take them to a new planet and start all over again. But I know I have balance because all of these personalities, some of them will be plumbers, some of them will be electricians, some of them will know how to build houses, some of them will know how to grow food. Every human on this planet has something to contribute. They have a natural asset and liability to offer to the balance. So we expand on that 144 and we look at the 144,000, and right now we are focusing on identifying the 144,000 that are on this planet. Right now, there's 144,000 people that understands everything that we're talking about. They have received these telepathic downloads on their instructions to make a change on this planet. And they, at this juncture, will use a book like Lucifer's Revenge as a guide to start organizing their ranks and implementing the laws of balance. It's as simple as that. You know, it's either do that or face the consequences. And we're going to talk about that, you know, later on down the road. But that's what this is all about. We are appealing. If you feel that you are a benevolent soul, if you've been getting spiritual downloads, we need to make a change. We need to do something different. This ain't working for our children. This ain't working for our land. The prices are high. The food is contaminated. Pharmaceutical drugs are killing us. If you instinctively feel something's wrong with this picture, then you are one of the 144,000. You need to come join us because we got a playbook now, a step-by-step manual on how we're going to regain sanity on this planet.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And one thing I want to add to that, but that was very good. Very, very good explanation on that. One thing I want to add to that, when we asking people to join, or when we reach it out, we say, hey, family, let's collaborate if you are resonating with what we're saying and what we're doing. The number 144,000 can either give or take some zeros. It can be 1.44 million, right? Right. If the circumstances are what they are, if it's 1,440 people, it is what it is. Now, when we're talking about the 144, what it is, it's a balancing frequency, regardless of how many zeros are behind it. It's much more of a again a frequency to tap into, much more of a frequency to tap into, and so I'm glad you pointed out joining us. In the description, I have the email amaruday85@gmail.com. If you like what we're talking about, if you like the message, and you are at the point where you are more so about wanting to do something about these circumstances, don't hesitate to send an email, and we will correspond to you. Right. And because imagine I'm 30. I was about to lie. I was about to say I'm 35. I am much closer to 40. Much closer to 40. I hear a lot of my generation and younger asking this very simple question. Everybody's saying, "Yo, what are we doing?" That very simple question. What are we doing out here, y'all? Every day I'm waking up and going to go do something which is XYZ. And as it interprets to me is I'm going to get up and do XYZ, which does not serve my purpose. I think right now, everybody is feeling the ascension process, and we're going to talk about that in some later shows and pull from excerpts from the book, because we elaborate on that a lot in the book as well, where we are astrologically, where we are in these electromagnetic frequency configurations, even from a biblical standpoint, a point of revelation, if you will. Everybody's feeling that we need to ascend, we need to evolve, and the veil is completely gone, and so everybody's trying to figure out, it's not necessarily about the money. Everybody's coming to the conclusion, yeah, the money is a means to an end, but what is my purpose here on this planet? What am I getting up every day and doing? Right. What we're saying to you is, we're not going to try to, lead you astray or pacify you. Say, we know exactly what you need to be doing in your purpose. No, like you're your own individual. You have your own capability of communicating with the Most High and downloading and or receiving what it is you need to do. But what we do have the ability to do is guide you in that direction. We do have that ability. So again, emails in the description, amaruday85@gmail.com. Reach out to us if you want to. All right. So, I wanna talk about Lucifer a little bit more. You made another point. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, month, year, great year, so on and so forth. we have a fluctuation of frequencies constantly happening. And just like you say, that is the foundation of all matter, foundation of its 3D reality as we see it. And as an astrologer, you learn that in depth. All right. So I'm very keen on it. And what that has allowed me to realize is, if me as a human, with my quote unquote, limited perception, if I'm capable of grasping the vast science, which is cosmology and astronomy, you can imagine what an advanced being is capable of, how they can interpret cosmology and astronomy, not only for this solar system, but whatever cosmic domain they're capable of traveling to, right? So, in the book we get into that we, just like you say, we got different types of species from all over the universe, reflective of species that even here on this planet. But so if you have advanced beings who are capable of understanding this, you also have the concept of Lucifer, who's also capable of understanding this. Right. So let me ask you this. So as far as Lucifer goes, how do you think, or let me just say, what do you think his motivation was, realizing that, I'm gonna use these frequencies. I'm gonna use these time portals. I'm gonna use these seasons to infiltrate, the crown jewel Earth.
Well, I'm going to go into that. I'm going to show the correlation with John Milton's testimony on that when he wrote the poems in the 1600s. But Chairman, we know you haven't received the whole book yet. The book was just made available in ebook form and paperback. But Chairman, we know you had a little bit of information to work with, and you should be fully brought up to speed by next show. But what are you seeing from what you've received thus far?
Well, what I'm receiving is that you guys are, trying to enlighten society on the Lucifer agenda. You're bringing it to people's attention. You both have knowledge and resources that you've been dealing with to bring to our attention. You've been studying, and that's how we learn. Either we study it ourselves and do the research, or we follow somebody else's research to learn what's going on. And I think it's a good thing, because astronomy is, well, I should say, yeah, astronomy I'm into, but astrology I'm not into. You guys are into numerology. You've been doing that for a long time. And Junior's been into it where he's teaching it at the university level, you know. But my thing, I'm basically on this concrete universe of astronomy, the planets, the galaxies, the universe itself, the multi-universes, And I just started really delving into that, which in my own mind, I don't tend to believe in the multi-universes. I consider it, from my old school way of thinking, as dimensions, but sometimes you have to change your technique to accompany and, to inform the younger generation, because they're always coming up with new words. And I try to stay abreast so I can communicate with them. And some things I can enhance their knowledge with my 77 years of being on this planet. But it's not the amount of years that you've been here. It's the amount of knowledge that you've acquired, because you can pick up a couple books and learn so much, that most people don't know in a lifetime just from reading a couple of books. But you got to have an open mind. You got to keep it open, and Lucifer's agenda, Lucifer's revenge, that should spark something in people's minds of what's going on. Why is Lucifer having a revenge? What did he do? What did we do to him that he's got to get at us? And we're just here trying to bring things to people's attention, open people's minds so this can be a better planet to live on. And when we advance more and go to other solar systems, we can advance and just share this knowledge with other individuals, because we're not going to be here for forever. So we got to share to other people so they can take the ball further. This is a continuous thing, and it's just a growing process.
Well, Chairman, one of the things that the Luciferian agenda did, it developed, for those that are familiar with the Willie Lynch letter, it took us out of our natural order, the melanated people. And if you take the melanated people out of the natural order, that disrupts the whole planet. So what we have is a council of elders. The chairman is a part of our council of elders. He's got 77 years. I got 72 years. And there are other elders that we are encouraging to join us. Everybody, like the chairman, he works with wood, with concrete. He has a vast, I've seen his work. So on the council, in his lane, when we say, well, we need to build housing for the younger generations to get them out of this Luciferian hamster wheel, the chairman knows how to make that happen. He knows how to set that up. So we have an organizational chart which starts with the elders, regaining the respect for the elders. And we sit and make policy. And we work with the upper management team, who will then take those policies and draft an outline and a budget for making it happen. Then you got lower management, and then you got management, then you got the people that are the younger people that are coming into the training of doing all these different things. So we're restoring the natural balance back to the planet by setting up this organizational chart of elders to help guide and lead us. Right now, the generations behind us have no respect for the elders, and rightfully so, because we've been contained and incarcerated and all kind of horrible things. And back from the Willie Lynch letter, they described it. They say we have to turn the old against the young, the house slaves against the field slaves, the light skins against the dark skin. That was a Luciferian agenda to divide and conquer a species, not just Black people or melanated people. They conquered the whole planet, because if you were administrating this ignorance, you are now a slave to it. And the consequences and the negative karma that you are encouraging or depositing is going to be transferred to you and your children and your children's children. So all of the children of the individuals that implemented these negative, horrendous policies, their children are messed up in the head, and they're weak. And they're going to die if they continue to implement these policies. So my son and I are astrologers. We calibrate the board. You don't have to know all the things that we know. When you come into our collective as an elder, you bring what you bring, your life experiences. And we sit around and we talk about, okay, what's our next move? Okay, so what we're doing right now is following our nation with all the other nations, letting them know that we exist and we're open for business, our Constitution, and then we're going to be identifying land that is already owned by Aboriginals. We're going to be building housing on it. We're going to be setting up industry that deals with nature, with nothing, the stuff that's destroying the planet, all this plastic and all this crazy stuff for the sake of profit. That's done. If you don't, you got to stop that. So we're going to be setting up these colonies of people, getting them out of this Luciferian system and this Luciferian hamster wheel to start getting back to the natural order. Working 40 hours a week, for the Luciferian agenda is insane because you have no end to it. It's continued to enslave you to all the way up to 65, and then by that time, your organs are shutting down and you can't even enjoy it. So our system, you might work 15, 20, 30 hours, towards a balanced system to keep the system going. The rest of the time is yours to grow spiritually. So which would you rather work with? With Trump and Biden with this crazy agenda, or work with the Aboriginals of the United States of America, or the United Federation of Planet Earth, where we're working towards technology that's not destroying our ecosystem and our planet? So it's a very simple choice. A lot of you, even melanated people, well, I got my PhD and my doctorate and this and that, and I'm worth X amount of dollars an hour. You got hoodwinked. Get out of that state of mind. Bring that intelligence to a system of balance. All right, okay. So we need elders. We need upper management people. The generations. Your experience. We need management. And then we need people that need to be, and as astrologers, my son and I, we know, what your capabilities are based on your astrological alignment, because that's how the universe set this thing up. We know who the scientists are, we know who the plumbers are, we know who the cooks are, the farmers. We know all of these sort of things, and we'll guide you in that and help develop that. And you're not enslaved and getting up every morning, go work on a slave job that's destroying the humans and the planet. So, that's the objective here. All right, so to answer my son's question about Lucifer's motivation, it's amazing how the Guardians get you to pay attention. So I happened to run across this story written by, it's called The Poems of John Milton, written back in the 1600s. And so I said, this looks interesting. So I read some of the poems, or I watched the documentary. I said, oh, I see where he got this information, what he was trying to interpret. I'm going to take this information and bring it into the 21st century. And then John Milton's poem was called Paradise Lost, and it explains, Lucifer. So the question is, why do we call it Lucifer? There is no devil. Well, so we call it Lucifer, the devil, Beelzebub, all these names because they are affiliated with what happened here on Earth. But on some other solar system, he might be Leroy or Jonathan or Calvin, But we explain in this book that they are low frequency entities that was taken out of the natural order and put in situations they should not have been put in. So they took a plumber and put him in the room doing electronics. And he's going like, but I'm a plumber. And so he's out of his natural order. So our system is going to bring all this back into balance. So Lucifer, who we tag, use that name to describe the low frequency entity, he is a childlike spirit. Even though he was in an advanced civilization, he was a childlike spirit. So I don't care how advanced you are, there's still the balance of the progression of spiritual evolution. So there's in a civilization that's 1,000,000 years more advanced than us, they still have low frequency negative entities working in their balance. And at some point, if they get out of sort, then they're going to do things like Lucifer and get beat down, and then they have a choice. Am I going to correct this? I got beat down for a reason. You know, do I need to go take an inventory on myself? No, he got beat down to the. He said, "No, well, we're gonna go back and get some payback." And John Milton described it in a manner based on the 1600s. I immediately recognized that no, I know what a portal is, the transfer from one part of the universe to the other. I understand that concept. There, extraterrestrials have been doing that they have a chart of all the portals to go from one end of the universe to the other. So he was trying to explain it from the 1600 perspective. I just brought it to the 21st hundred to give our people an option to think about on why are we having these problems? Why I went to look at the rent in the area that where I live. It started out $1,500. Now it's $2,500. Who's getting that kind of raise to afford that? What it's designed to do is to put you in a position to sell your soul just to live on your own damn planet. That's why. That's the whole design. So Lucifer's motivation is his ignorance. And let me explain something to you Luciferian cohorts. The original Lucifer, because the laws of karma have delegated him to a hideous form, and it'll keep reversing you all the way back to the amoeba if you continue to defy and challenge the balance of the universe. So he or she may have put these Luciferian agendas in place, but he ain't no longer running it. And so when you go join up and subscribe to it because of your selfish nature, all you're doing is perpetuating it and maintaining it. You need to wake up and you need to understand the consequences of your actions. But we deal with all these things step by step through the whole book. Did I halfway get to?
Show you right. That does answer the question quite frank, and also good point on the type of people that we'll need in this first wave to join. You mentioned the nation, and so what we're talking about here is a Aboriginal quote unquote nation state. And I know the term nation state may sound colonial in a sense, but until we do a complete overhaul on the governmental culture worldwide on this planet, because mind you, because what you do see across the planet at this point is a style of government influenced by, let's say, parasitic European regimes. In other words, you're talking about a monarchy that governs over a geographical location with invisible lines in the ground. In other words, called borders and property lines, right? Just think about how a quote unquote jurisdiction operated before that. All right. But that's a whole nother conversation we'll get into. But what do we need right here, right now? I always say this, and you made a point towards this earlier, that you don't have to know everything that we know right now. That's not necessary. I individually, I always respect and are willing to work with the people who have the will first. You have the will, you are much more contributive and in a march like this than even someone who has the information but is not a team player. Right? So I'll say it again. I'm much more interested in people who have the will, because if you have the will, that means you have the will to learn something that you don't already know yet, right? So the people who are willing and have an interest in civics, who willing and have an interest in science, um, and to be straightforward with you, that's about where we are right now. And Dad mentioned a council of elders. Technically, a council of elders is a civic matter. Council of elders is going to help govern and guide, you know, every system that we operate with wisdom, and that's necessary. And it is reflective of some of our ancient and effective governance systems. We always had councils of elders, always, up until recently. When I say recent, last 200 years, right? Last 200 years, we always had a council of elders who seen life, and take for instance, you may have a young guy like me who's very, adamant about something, wants to march forward on something, but has never been in the situation. The elder has. And he can say to a young guy, hey man, I know how you feel. I know you want to go over there and jump in that situation. And even though the situation may not be exactly like the one the elder has experienced, but still the elder can take a look at it, assess it, and say, yeah, it ain't exactly the same, but I can still, I can pretty much see how that's going to turn out. I don't think you should do it that way, right? Because here are the potential outcomes, right? So when we're talking about a nation state, a council of elders, and we have, just like any other governing body, there are positions to be filled. This is the other one. What I mentioned scientists, people who are interested in civics, and quote unquote economists at this point. Economists who are willing to be innovative and invent a new economic system. One that's like Pops would always say, that one that's based on an exchange system with real tangible value or intrinsic value. Because this fiat type of system is definitely going to crash in the next 20 years for sure.
20?
Well, I say 20 because you're going to have a lot of people who want to hold on to it. Even within, and speaking of melanated people, even within our own people. Matter of fact, we're going to probably be some of the worst ones. They want to hold on to, like, nah, I want this dollar, I want this piece of paper to mean something. And I want you to think it means something. So if I have a lot of it, I have value, and I have value, and we can continue to play this game of exchanging it. Now, that's a dying system, but we're gonna have some people who go kicking and screaming with it. I know we are. But like I was saying, economists, scientists, people who are interested in civics, I bring that point up, and I'm going to land this plane. Remember, that's our famous statement on this show. We're going to land this plane. I mentioned people who are interested in civics because self-governance is the new order of the day. What's going to happen is large government is going to phase out, and smaller, localized, compact governments are going to rise, who are capable of interfacing and interacting and collaborating with other smaller governments fairly, righteously. Very easy concept. It ain't even that difficult. Very easy concept. Right. That's the new world. That's the future.
Well, the United States Constitution calls for that in the event that the government fails the people, it's supposed to represent. The burden is upon us to create a new ideology, a new government that serve the people. And so we're at that point right now. This government is only serving the Luciferian agenda, only.
Absolutely.
And so I know my son say we need people, so in creating a new government, we need people with expertise in all aspects of life. So whatever your expertise is, bring it. Now, here's the thing about our attitude in starting this show up again. We're not doing this show to try to convince you to change your ways or see the new light. We are specifically recruiting or the 144,000. Now, we hope if you're not one of the 144,000, we hope you read the book so you'll understand what's getting ready to happen to you. But right now, this is a call out to get those individuals that gets it. We're not in the business of not trying to convince you to understand what we're saying. This is a call out for those conscious people that's tired of this craziness, that know you have been receiving these downloads, that you need to do something. We're calling you. We have a playbook. We have a plan of action. And we are confident that you're going to be satisfied with the direction we're headed. So we're not, so we just put the call out to you. It's time. Your assignment is ready for you to get on the stick. You know who you are. You see what's going on the planet. You gifted with the ability to understand and comprehend right and wrong. So we're putting the call out. Get the ego out of it. That I got to come up with it first. Get that out of here. But we get ready to close this thing. I got another statement to make. Chairman, what's your thought on what's going on? What's your closing statement?
Well, I just want to keep the conversation going, because I'm learning. Never too old to learn. Like a guy told me, when you're too old to learn, you're too old to live. So let's just keep putting it out, make people think, open up their minds, because the sky isn't the limit. The universe is infinite. There is no end, but we have to just build up to that point where we could become self-sufficient, to get things on the right track where, we have a heavenly environment on earth. That's our goal. We were put here for that reason, to learn how to live in harmony with each other. But we got to come together and exchange ideals, especially positive ideals. No more of this jealousy or he think he this and he think he that. You come on and join with us, and let's all be something, because we are. Some of us just don't respond and don't do anything. But you can do something. We have positions for everybody.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so
I'll land that plane.
Hey, land that plane, gentlemen. So I got one other thing to say to you. What you're going to find in this book, my son did a great job on researching it. That there were councils. One, the Council of Nicaea, that happened. It took them 500 years to create a false image.
550.
550 years to create a false image and a false religion. Here's what they were doing. They were creating a program for you to pray to a false god. And by doing that, that frequency was being sent out into the atmosphere to support this false god. That's why things ain't changed. That's why we're still going through this. So what we're doing is bringing in focus the true reality of the supreme being that's within you as an individual. That's what we're focusing on. These false images that they created, we got pictures and timelines of how they did this. So if a whole lot of people is praying to this false god, you sending your frequency in the wrong direction. If your name is Gerard, and and they said that Gerard was the savior 2,000 years ago, and then you figure out that Gerard The letter J is only 500 years. That means you're sending your frequency and your prayers to a fake, a false image. So the objective here is to get you to read this book, and it's going to automatically reprogram your system to find the supreme being within yourself, the manifestation within yourself. So here's the deal. Go to lucifersrevenge.net and order this book. And you can get the ebook, it's like $9. You can get the paperback, it's like $29. And when Lucifer realized that enough people have purchased this book, when the Luciferian agenda, with all these demonic politicians and corporate leaders, when they realize that you have been awakened and that the frequency has changed to the supreme being in you versus their false God, they start shutting down. They have to change their game. So if you want to be a part of the revolution, you don't know what to do yet, just go get, right now, the greatest thing you could do for us is buy a copy of this book. Get a copy in your presence. Put a copy in every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. And that demonic Luciferian entity will start to shut down. He will stop murdering babies, stop raping our women, putting our women in a position they have to sell their bodies just to pay their rent and feed their children. It'll start shutting down. That's all you got to do right now, because what we're taking these funds from the sale of this book, and we're going to be investing in building our nations, our dual citizenship for Aboriginal people that's been here since the beginning of time, getting you out of the rent program, this Luciferian rent program. It changes the frequency. By buying the book, it changes the frequency on this planet. And the sinners are noticed to all these advanced civilizations, they're waking up. They're ready to make the right choice. So if you sit around and I don't want to buy that book because they might get rich. No, listen, I'm responsible to the supreme being. I'm not going out to buy a Lamborghini or mansion. This money is going back into this Aboriginal. It's going back into freedom for the human species.
I'll tell them what we're going to buy with it. What we'll go buy is all of the infrastructure for you to transition to outside of this Luciferian matrix. That's what we're going to buy. Yeah. That's the only thing that we consider as well at this point. Yeah. I don't care about a Lamborghini. In my mind, if I didn't build a Lamborghini myself, I don't really see no value in it. That's how I feel. I can't brag on a Bugatti if I did not craft it myself. Okay. So long story short, just like Pop said, the information we have in this book automatically reveals to you exactly what Lucifer and any of his cohorts. And mind you, right now we're saying Lucifer, but the characters, the culprits are going to be revealed in the next few episodes. But all of them will realize, okay, the jig is up. Not only were they aware of us, or did they become aware of us, but they know exactly how we do and what we did. And so we can't pull this anymore. All right. And so go get the book, lucifersrevenge.net. The link is in the description. Just like Pop said, the ebook is $9.99. The paperback, $29.99. Very affordable. Very affordable. It's not a get rich thing for us. Again, all of the proceeds will go towards building the I don't even want to say the alternative new world for us, the real new world for us, the real new world.
And next week we're going to talk about Caucasian people, your contribution of reversing your karma. So you go out and buy that book and get it to as many people in the Caucasian culture so that you can start the healing process, because your ancestors did some hideous things and it's starting to resonate in your life right now. And because you're going to find out that a majority of the souls on the surface of this planet all started out melanated, and we're going to break that down to we break it down in the book, but we're going to help you, through other shows. So go get a copy of this book. That's going to start to change the frequency, and that's your contribution to initiate rebellion against this craziness.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that. Yeah, to all our Caucasian people out there, we know there are some benevolent ones out there. We know that for sure. It's imperative that you get this book because there are very key instructions or revelations for you in this book as well. Very key. All right.
You got the final word.
All right. Well, no, Chairman, you got anything else to contribute to it?
Not at this time. I'm sitting back taking it all in. I'm learning more about the 144,000 concept. Some of this is new to me, so my mind is open. I'm always open for new knowledge and growth. That's the most important thing. So I could pass it down to my descendants. Knowledge is power. If you don't have no knowledge, you don't have no power. I'll land that.
Well, I'm gonna let it end on that right there. This has been the Straight Talk Network show. We love you. Go and buy the book. Go to lucifersrevenge.net. Again, the link is in the description. So I don't have to spell it out for you to where, I don't want to mess it up. Just hit the link in the description. It'll take you straight there. And all you got to do is click one or two buttons. It'll take you straight to the ebook and or the paperback. All right. So peace and love, family. We'll see you next week. All right.
Peace out.
Conversation, peace.